Hello everyone, here we are today for first English tutorial of the AW109SP brand new by X-trident. So let's get started. We have the helicopter in the helipad ready for the startup. So firstly and most important, never forget the blockers. So you can see we have here in the pitos, we have in the engine and transmission ventilation openings and the exit of the engine. So firstly we go in the top in the menu, options and animation, and then we can both click here off or release each one clicking the checkpoint. So let's do it. We can keep the wheel chocks before because this tutorial will be firstly based on the startup procedure. Okay, so for everyone, I am not so good with English, so if you don't understand anything or maybe some words, let me know. I will try to improve my English and get it better. So let's jump to the cockpit. Okay, so here we are inside the 109 cockpit. We are talking about a full glass cockpit. So it is all glass cockpit. So you don't have any analog instrument like the power and the grand version of the 109. The grand new was rebuilt the cockpit. We still have the EDUs 1 and 2, that is the engine display units, okay? And this is the only the only instruments that are named as EDU1 in the right side, EDU2 in the left side. All the other systems will be named with number 1 to the left and number 2 to the right. Okay, so here we have, as I said, so here we have the EDUs, like I said. We have the right side 2 MFDs that we can and should call PFD for the top and MFD for the bottom, or ND. Okay, so navigation display and pilot flight display. We have the same for left side, 2 MFDs, named MFDs number 1 and MFDs number 2. Okay, we have radios, okay, for both sides, number 1, number 2. We have the APMS, autopilot management system. For all the autopilot systems we can use. We have the radar in the bottom. In the top we have the DMG. Okay, I think it means digital moving display. We have that. We have EASYS, that is basically a laser system that works as a how can I say the correct word for that, but it is a standby attitude indicator. Okay, so it is inside of that a laser system, so you don't have any analog or something like that to worry about. And also we have in the right and left sides our RBP, where we can set the pre-briefed altitude or heading, the standby numbers. Okay, so standby altitude and standby headings. That is not our active heading and altitude. Also we have some configurations here about the climb angle, descent angle, VOR lock 1 and 2. We have other possibilities like decision height and minimum altitude. Some of them will only work with the pilot side that is selected in the PFT here in the APMS. Okay. In the bottom we have the landing gear and the fuel management panels that we will use for the pre-start and start checklist. And also here in the bottom we have the engine selector modes, OEI, that is one engine in operate training. We have all the switches of the highs 1 and 2 and synchronization about that. We have the RCP remote control panel where we can select the EDU, GPS or a high system we want to show in the MFDs, usually in the auto or normal position in the middle. That is the position that should be used because left side we use system 1, right side we use system 2. And if you have any fail of one of them, you can then select here to how can I say, use the same system for both sides. Okay, so and then we have the collective and the cyclic, and then we cover all. We have obvious the magnet compass in the right and the left, and also a chronometer or clock for both sides. And then we can use the mode of chronometer for startup, and pretty much is that. So for the cockpit and safe checks, engine pre-start, we'll check if everything is good to start our battery and move on. So we start here. Uh, Firstly, obvious will be the aircraft records check, fire extinguish bottles. I don't remember if this is modeled, but usually it's here in the real. Oh, it's here, so it is on. We have that, no problem. And then belt, seat, and pedals. I'll check it. So here we have the seat belts of the pilot, the co-pilot, pedals. You can adjust here the distance. If you rotate that, the pedals will move forward or after, and then you can adjust for your test. Okay, so let's move again, and then we start to check the controls in the MPOG are centered. So cyclic collective is in the minimal down. Okay, and the pedals is centered, and then we move forward. Parking brake, firstly, forward will be off and push will be on. So check on, and then we move to the overhead. All circuit brakes should be in. If it is not in, we will see a white part of the circuit brake, so should be on, and then we move forward. Uh, The master avionics will be in the middle position. You have ground cone where you can use the RBP and also the communication. I think it is not implemented yet, no problem. So we'll keep in ground position in the middle. In this case, just the pilot side will be working the ground. The co-pilot will not be powered as the DMG. Okay. So we will keep forward. Fire panel check. So here in the middle you have the bottle select 1 and 2, left and right, and also the covers. So you check that is correctly, and then you move to the hotter brake. Let me move here. You have the hotter brake. You have a button here, a red button. So you need to click that, and then for apply the rotor brake you need to push. If it is forward is off, so this should be off for the startup procedures. PLAs, the engine PLAs will be in, let me change the position, will be in flight. Okay, and then we move for start source and out. So start source will be with the cover down, and also the ELT will be in arming position. We move for the landing gear level. So here we have landing gear in the middle, that means down. If he is up, will be in up position, and full down will be down emergency position. So we check in down position in the middle. The emergency landing gear switch will be normal with the wide, the safe wide here, okay. And also the servo will be normal, that means both are working. If you want to test, we'll do that after the startup. You just move for one off or two off, okay. And then we proceed for nose wheel lock. It is on. Engine 1 and 2 mode OAI, as I said, off, off, and middle. We check their highs. It is in MAG, not in DG. All the switches for the aural warnings and FE synchronization will be off for startup. The RCP panel will be all normal, all in center. We move for the collective. It will be engine governor 1 and 2 in auto position, search lights and landing lights off, and then we can check the 100%. Let me move a little to the right. Okay, it should be 100% in the ground. After we are ready for takeoff, we can move for auto and do a test for 102. So let's keep 100%, and then we are ready for the engine start procedure. So we'll turn on our battery. Remember, if it is forward the switch,
Warning.
You are using the battery. If it's backward, you will be using the battery in APU mode. It means if you have external power and you want to recharge your battery, you need to move backward. Let's move on. We are not using the EPU, the external power unit, so we'll go forward. Battery on, Gen bus 1 and 2 on, inverters 1 and 2 on, and then as we don't have the EPU, Gen switch 1 and 2 on. Okay, let's move on. We'll do a lamp test. So here in the APMS we have no lights, only autopilot 1 and 2 and the PFT selector. For the lamp test we'll come here in the right side of the inverters. Hold test. You can see now that the light is on in the APMS. If I release the mouse button, it will turn off. Okay, so it is tested. Then we move forward with the AWG test. So here in the right side you have the AWG regrade, normal, and test position. Usually you keep normal and it will play all the aural sounds, aural warning sounds, okay? So if you move for test and release, I think we have a fix for that in the near future, but in the time of this video it is not yet correctly. You should move one time for test and it will play a message as test okay. So let's see.
Test. Okay.
Okay, if you hold for 6 seconds, it will play all the AWG sounds. I don't know if we will listen now in this tutorial, but in real life, you keep for 6 seconds, release that, it will start for play all the aural sounds. So let's test.
Okay. Rotor, low. Engine 1, out. Engine 2, out. Fire. Engine 1.
Alright,
fire,
it's
fire.
working, so
Engine
I
2,
released
fire.
that.
Warning.
The sounds are
Rotor,
playing.
high.
Let's wait for that.
Autopilot, autopilot. Engine, idle. Overtorque. Airspeed. Landing gear. Decision height. 200 feet. Altitude.
Alright, so the tests are done. We'll move for EDU1 and 2. Okay, so in EDU1 we have all the emergencies before startup. So that means we have all of the systems not working yet. We have also the parking brake in green. So usually green means that is okay, just the system, the DAU, that is our computer, is saying for us that everything is okay, but you have the green message. Yellow usually is something that you need to fix, or if you don't, it will not make you land as soon as possible. And red usually is something that you have a good emergency to work on. So let's move forward. We'll check the battery voltage menu in the left side, auxiliary menu, and also we have the voltage of 25 volts. And as we are with battery on, it will be dropping slowly. Okay, 115 we have the inverters voltage, and also we have in the right side the fuel, each side of the fuel tank. So right side is 213, left side is 276. That is normal. Usually when you are flying and the levers are coming near to 100, it will synchronize. So it is normal to have more fuel on the left side than the right, but physically you have the same fuel for both sides because it is only one tank with two fuel levers sensors. Okay, so we'll then go to mine again, and then we'll press test. When we press test, the DU and the EDUs will test all numbers in the maximum. We'll proceed for a bit test internally, and then we'll have the fire extinguish test that will light up the lights of fire in the fire extinguish panel. We'll have the PLAs with a light inside of that. We'll have the master caution, master warning lights on. We'll have in the EDU1 fire 1 and fire 2, engine 1 and 2. And then we'll have in the mode selector a fire light here too. So we'll be mostly 10 lights together. So let's move for a better position. We'll click test. We'll heard a sound about engine fire 1 and fire 2, and then check the lights. So let's go.
Fire. Engine 1. Fire.
1,
Warning.
2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have all the 5 positions of the lights. Okay, it is 10 lights, but we can say 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5. Okay, so test is done. We'll come back, and then ADU1 will click menu. It is in start phase. If it is in cruise, you need to click start because the limits will be toggle for the start limits. In cruise, you have a bar here that let you know where is the limits for the cruise or normal flight. So let's move again for start, exit, and then move to the checklist. We'll check the PFT and MFD, so they already started. Here we can see the software installed, revision 8.0H. In the real life, we have an update in, I think is about April 24. We got 9.0 alpha, but in my helicopter where I fly, it is not yet updated, so I can't say if we have some improvement or something new. Okay, so you can check all the coverage data, like you have the cycle of the Iraq, we have the valid date. In my case, it is 16 May, but I already updated, so you have the expiry date 13 June. Okay, so Brazil we say first the day and after the month, but in USA standard you say June 13, 2024. Okay. Obstruction data in the real life you have the date of the information and also the terrain data, the coverage, and then press any button to continue. If you press here, where we will call this a noob for rotate, and also click on that. When we say click on that, usually I use OK. So if you click OK, I mean it's about click here, both in PFD and ND MFDs. Okay, so then they are working correctly, and then we move forward for the fuel management. So here we have all the switches off and the crossfeed valve in auto. We'll turn on the fuel valve and then the fuel pumps. The fuel pumps you can check here in the fuel uh, part of the EDU2. We have 0 psi for the electric pumps. I can move the crossfeed valve close, turn on the fuel pump 1. We'll have a good psi in the left side. Fuel pump number 2, I will have a good PSI in the right side, and then move back the crossfeed valve to auto. If I turn off fuel pump number 1, I will have the emergency light here in the ADU1, and then ADU2 will show both sides with 20 PSI because the cross valve is sending fuel from the right side to the left with the electric pumps. Okay, and when you have the engines running, it will run the mechanic fuel valve. So you have two mechanics fuel valves that will send both fuel for the engine 1 and 2 respectively. Okay, so let's move on. So here we finish the first phase of the start procedures, and then we will move for the starting engine procedures. So firstly, we'll check the area, it is clean. Don't forget to check if you remove everything. I have only the shocks on, no problem. So let's move again here, inside. Engine area is clear, cyclic stick and pedals are centered, yes. Anti-collision light is on, so on. Engine 1 or 2 mode noob to idle, so you can choose or you can make a standard like some guys like to do in the companies, in the airline companies, as the number end of the day. So today I am record that with July 5, so we can turn on engine number 1. So clock is good. I will monitor. Okay, while the startup is proceeding, I will monitor anyone TOT. If I have any unusual situation for the TOT, like a hot start, I can turn off the engine selector and I will abort the startup procedure and proceed for a vent or engine aborted engine procedures. So let's pay attention on these values. 20 to 25 of N1, the rotor should be starting to spin, and then 40-45% of N1, sorry, we will have the engine PSI of the oil engine PSI, both sides will be increasing, and about 50 of N1 will have the start and ignition lights off. So let's check. Starting engine 1, idle.
Warning.
Clock on, and then we'll check here N1 TOT. It is good, it is increasing. Takes some time to blow up the engine and we'll see the TOT increasing, usually about 15. So okay, we have a light up in the engine, the rotors are starting to spin, good. The engine oil
Warning.
pressure is on, and then lights off. We have a good engine 1 startup.
Warning.
So now let's wait for the numbers to stabilize, and you want your T, torque, and also the NR. And then we check all the other systems. We have hydraulic 1 and 2 pressurizing. We have here in the auxiliar the utility hydraulic system. It is pressurized, so everything is green. Good. We exit, come back for the main page. We have the NR stabilized 65%, so we can check if your amperage of the battery is okay. So 160 is below 200. This is green. We can proceed for the start. So let's move the good engine that we have turned on to flight. It will increase the NR for 100%. We wait for that. And then we'll move for the engine number 2 startup procedure. So we'll come back for the engine mode noob idle procedure and then move forward. Okay. Case the numbers are stabilized, so we'll move engine number 2 mode to idle and monitor. About 40-45 we have a PSI increase in the oil, and then the lights will come off with about 50%. So let's check that. All the time you have an engine startup, you have battery discharge. That is normal because both engines are started in the battery. So we have good PSI, lights off, we have a good start. Okay, so we can move forward with the checklist. While the right engine is stabilizing the numbers, we can proceed for the after engine start procedure. External power, if you use it, we can disconnect now and switch the generators on, but we are not using. Master avionics, we can move normal forward. T's and P's and caution warning systems we can check. So here we have only cabin door, attitude off, autopilot 1 and 2 off, so we can close the doors here. Don't forget to lock the door and then move for the autopilot. In the real life, we'll proceed for a test. It is not yet implemented in this date of the helicopter. Okay, so autopilot 1 and 2, and then left PFD and ND. It is working, and then we can synchronize the engines, move the second engine to flight, and wait for establish the parameters. Okay, and then we can get ready for takeoff. So in the next video I will bring you the taxi checks, takeoff checks, and before takeoff checks. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know that I did some mistakes in my English, but I try to be the most effective in the explanation. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know your feedback, comment the video. Don't forget to subscribe and also share the video with other friends that like to fly this bird in the X-plane. So I hope you enjoy. See you next time. Thank you.